Hello everyone, and in this video, I will be recapping Deep Water, a thriller and mystery film from 2022. Subscribe and hit the bell to never miss a recap. And leave a movie suggestion in the comments for me to recap. The movie introduces Vic Van Allen and Melinda Van Allen, a wealthy couple living in Louisiana, with their young daughter, Trixie. From the very first scene, we can tell that something is deeply wrong in their marriage. Melinda openly flirts with other men, sometimes even bringing them home, while Vic silently watches from the shadows. Instead of confronting her, he remains eerily calm. At a social gathering, Melinda is with Vic, but is seen getting close to a younger man, Joel Dash. Vic goes to check what she was doing, instead he catches them in the act. Later, Vic approaches Joel and casually threatens him, saying that he killed Melinda's previous lover, Martin McRae, and that his body was never found. Shortly after, Joel is seen leaving the gathering by Melinda, and Melinda tries to get him to stay, and it doesn't work. She starts to question Vic about how different Joel was acting after speaking with him, and he lets her know he didn't do anything wrong. But she doesn't believe anything he said, so they decide to drive back home. The next morning, Vic brings Trixie to school, and after coming back out, a friend of his questions him about what he said to Joel, and Vic says it was only a joke, and they both laugh it out, which means Joel told people around. While going out to have food with the two of his friends, he realizes they know about what he said to Joel, but he tries to play it off like he didn't say anything to Joel. But they know what Melinda does to him, so they know why Vic threatened Joel. So when Vic goes home, he tells Melinda the truth about what he said to Joel, and she gets angry with him, and he starts to apologize. But she wants him to apologize to Joel since he is coming over before he leaves town. When Joel comes over, Vic brings a more positive energy welcoming him, but Joel seems to be shook still being around Vic. But Joel still goes inside while Vic tells him there's dinner inside. Later that night, he sees them together once again and stays calm, so he makes noise in the kitchen so that he can let her know that he's there, so she tries to play it off like nothing was going on between her and Joel. When he goes to talk with Joel, Vic is more serious this time, but Joel was waiting for an apology for threatening him. But Vic tells him that he really did murder Melinda's previous lover, Martin McRae, with a hammer, and Joel is even more shook. But Vic orders Joel an Uber so he can leave. Joel takes the hint and quickly leaves town. But Vic's cold delivery raises suspicion among their friends, especially Don Wilson, a writer who begins to question Vic's true nature. Vic decides to dance with another woman while his friends and Melinda watches them. While they are going home, Melinda asks Vic questions about the girl he was dancing with and wanting to know what he thinks about her, while he doesn't really have an answer, although he does say he thinks she's attractive. While Vic is watching pianist Charlie D. Lyle, Melinda shows up not knowing Vic is there, and Vic's whole demeanor changes. Melinda becomes interested in Charlie, while Charlie sings to her, and Charlie soon becomes Melinda's new lover after Joel left because of Vic. When Vic goes home, he turns on the news and sees that the body of Martin McRae was found, and was announced that he was murdered due to a gunshot. He breaks the news to Melinda that Martin is deceased, and she is in disbelief by it and goes upstairs. While he's driving, he sees Charlie with flowers in his hands, but doesn't know for what reason. But the same flowers that Charlie had is in his home, so he decides to throw them away. Vic waits for Melinda to come home after not being there all night, so he questions her, and she doesn't answer any of them. Vic had enough and didn't want her to see Charlie anymore, but she tries to manipulate him, but he becomes furious with her, so she leaves it alone. At a party, Melinda introduces Charlie to Vic, but Vic isn't too pleasant, but stays calm still for Melinda and the people around. Later that day, he goes to check on Melinda, but she is nowhere to be found until he sees both her and Charlie leaving a room, and now he starts plotting to do something. As he is watching them play around and start to get real close to each other with a very calm expression in his face, everyone leaves the pool to go inside, including Vic. But Charlie is the only one that's not inside, so Melinda checks on Charlie and sees he is face down in the pool and screams for help. Dawn and Vic help him get out, but as they lift him, Charlie falls right on his head, causing more damage. Vic tries to do CPR, but Melinda gets upset with him, thinks that he is faking the CPR on him. Police arrive and they cover Charlie's body, and police start asking everyone that was there, and right off the bat Melinda starts accusing Vic as the murderer, and they try to tell her to calm down except Dawn, who looks suspicious of Vic. However, instead of being afraid, she continues seeing other men. Vic invites Dawn to have dinner at his place, and a little while after they both go downstairs, so Vic can show Dawn his snails. But instead he confronts him and tells him to stop telling people he killed Charlie, and Dawn's suspicion grows even more and tells him to take a lie detector test and Vic agrees, but isn't really going to take it and is called a weird guy by Don. Vic goes to eat but sees Melinda and another person with her, and he claims to be a psychotherapist, but little does Vic knows he is investigating on what happened to Charlie, but Vic doesn't seem to fall for the bait. While going for a drive, Vic sees Melinda dressed and meets another guy and watches them as they walk together. As Tony goes to see Melinda, he meets Vic and Tony asks for Melinda. She brings him home, flirts with him openly, and Vic watches it all without saying a word. But instead of stopping her, Vic befriends Tony, inviting him out for a bike ride into the woods. This is where Vic plans on killing Tony, so he throws rocks at him, causing him to fall off a cliff and hit his head on multiple rocks. He drowns Tony's body in a creek, weighing it down with rocks to ensure it never surfaces. When Vic and Melinda went to go have a picnic, she says she left her scarf in the woods, the area Vic killed Tony, so he decided to go back to go get it. One evening, while searching through Vic's belongings, Melinda finds Tony's wallet hidden in a drawer. She finally realizes the truth: Vic did kill Tony, and probably the others too. Meanwhile, Don follows Vic into the woods, trying to catch him in the act. But instead he discovers that Vic was trying to hide Tony's body and is in shock, so he runs to his car and drives off while Vic gets on his bike. But somehow Vic catches up and goes in front of his car, forcing Don accidentally drives off a cliff and dies, removing Vic's biggest threat. The next morning, Melinda burns Tony's wallet, silently signaling that she has decided to stay with Vic. Thanks for watching until the end, and if you made it this far, make sure you subscribe for more breakdowns.